Right, hello everyone on the Beast of War backstage group. I wanted to try something out and I would like some feedback in regards to an idea I had presented to um, Warren a while back. Unfortunately, work, as all things get in the way, about creating a podcast based around wargaming, but having a chat with people from the community and seeing what they're got up to and sort of being able to share experiences with a wider community than you may or may not have already been connected with, especially people who struggle to post things on forums and things like that. And I kind of wanted to share this idea with people on the backstage group. If you can just leave your comments in the section below, that would be really helpful. And if you would like to volunteer yourself to come on and have a chat, then that would be fantastic as well. Again, everything's in sort of what I would determine as alpha stage, so don't take anything too seriously at the moment because I'm still trying to work it all out. So at the moment, I'm just sort of getting to grips with how I want to put this together, and sort of wanted your feedback on it. I also want to talk about one or two things to do with wargaming, so you can know a bit more about what I do um, in terms of that and where I'm going at the moment, so you can kind of get to grips with what we can talk about and in basis of what I do. So obviously I want to have some knowledge of the stuff that you get on with. Otherwise, that could be a pretty one-sided conversation, um, and vice versa. If you don't know anything about what I know, then yeah, again, it could be pretty one-sided. So to start with, I'm mainly a fan of the Warlord games. Um, Collections that they have. So I've played Bolt Action. I've played a couple of games of Hail Caesar recently. Very good games, very well written. Um, I like the Osprey Publishing Dragon Rampant, Lion Rampant. I've played Fantasy in the past. I've played a little bit of 40k, War Machine, Flames of War, X-Wing. I was trying to think what else I've played. Shark Practice. A few of you might be aware of that. That was a very fun game, which is sort of Napoleonics. Uh, and yeah, just kind of been making my way through some games with the club that I belong to. Um, and at the moment, I'm sort of focusing on gearing up on the Gates of Antares because they've just released their new uh, what I refer to as a campaign supplement, but it isn't really. It's just a supplement, like a supplement book to the game. But I've known it as a campaign supplement because that's what we're kind of using it as a basis to start our Antares um, games in the club, and I've gone for the Algorand because I just love the way they look and the sort of shielding, and it reminds me of I believe his name is Garrus, of Mass Effect. So a character that I really like in Mass Effect 3, 2 even, not 3. I don't know if he's in 3. Can't remember. Anyway, um, so I've been working on at the moment terrain because I'm waiting for my order to arrive. I've ordered the army in a box and the starter box, some bits of scenery. Um, so that's going to give us a good sort of starting game. Hopefully, with a friend of mine who's also on Beast of War, who's called Giles. He's ordered a starter box. He's going to be, well, hopefully, if he ever responds, is going to be using the GAR. I'll be using the Algren, and we'll be able to give it a good crack to start with. The video I'm going to be playing is World of Warcraft. It's just going to be me walking about in somewhere, or flying about in this case. And that's only because I couldn't think of anything else that I really wanted to display, because I don't really like showing my face. So, yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing at the moment. Um, what I wanted to say, what I want is this is a test to see what you would like to bring to a podcast if you wanted to create one, if you wanted to be part of maybe a small community we could set up to do with a wargaming podcast, which would be mainly to do with the Beast of War site, with Warren's permission. Um, so basically, all the conversation would be revolved around the site. To start with, I just want it to be backstage for the moment. Yeah, feel free to share it with other people, but it's just that to start with, I want to start with a smaller community and people who I would say are more committed to the Beast of War site than just anyone who can walk in, and that's simply because I feel like the criticism that I will get back will be more constructive that way, to put it politely. That may not be the case. I think, but as a precaution, I think that's what I would like to do. Think that's it in terms of my background and kind of what I want to do. So I've now been. I now want to talk a little bit about some of the games I've been playing recently, and see what you've been playing. Like message me back or comment on the post that I'm going to put back, and I'll put a couple of photos as what I've been doing as well. So the games I've been playing at the moment mainly have been based around World War II strategy. So things like Blitzkrieg Commander, BoW Action. Been playing a little bit of less of BoW Action. We've come across a little bit of a problem with BoW Action. Well, I wouldn't say a problem. I think it's just the people I play with play very defensively, and which can be very hard to break through. And there doesn't appear to be a lot of anything to be able to combat that in terms of what I actually own at the moment, which would be the German Grenadier Starter Army plus a couple of other things, a couple of extra units, veterans, things like that. And I've kind of gone off it a little bit, but what I really like is the game mechanic of the random activation with the dice out of the bag for each unit, and the fact that it seems very restrictive to what historically happened as well. It doesn't allow for a very free thinking game, and you get a lot of people turn their nose up at it and things like that. And so yeah, I'm a little bit put off by it at the moment, but I think that'll change once I get back into the swing of it. Got some new, fresh games in there. Again, we've been playing some Sharp Practice, which is Napoleonics era, kind of. Basically, sort of single-shot rifles. It doesn't cope with anything magazine related. It's simply just what I would call, I don't know whether this is the right term, muzzle loading, I guess. Although that usually is cannons, I think. Someone from the historical section is just having a fit. Yeah, and we've been playing the sharp practice rules, and the sharp practice rules are spectacular in the fact that they have a card system, whereby you draw a card. So it's sort of like the bolt action random activation, but this is done by cards, and when you draw the card, it will come with red leader 1, and then you get to move, shoot, reload with red leader 1. And these leaders control groups. So basically, so you get drawn red leader 1, and he has 2 action points, or 1 action point, depending on the type of leader he is, or maybe even 3 if he's like a mighty commander of the British Army. And you can then allocate these points to your units, which then have 2 actions. So basically, you can have, so your commander can activate 2 units, and each of those units have 2 actions, and they can move or shoot. Sorry, move and shoot, or move and reload, or something of similar ilk. But what you end up with is you end up getting out of sequence because you move, you fire. Sorry, that's right. You got to aim as well. So it's you end up getting out of sequence by going. You move, you fire, you reload, you aim. And because it's 3 steps, not 2, it throws you right out of sequence because you've only got those 2 actions, which is really interesting because sometimes you'll be like, I really need to shoot right now, but I can't, which does occasionally happen, to much amusement of anyone who's watching you play. So yeah, there's some interesting things go on with the sharp practice in terms of the activations and things like that. Another cool thing is the tiffin card. Now if the tiffin card comes up, it means the turn has ended. So even if you haven't activated everyone, so unlike in bolt action where you know at least everyone's going to be activated, in this game you don't. Because if the tiffin card comes up, everything gets shuffled back into the deck and then you shuffle the deck. And then you can get something called special events, where if the tiffin card is the first card that shows up, then you can get events happen, which will usually be based on one side is out of ammo or something like that, and it can really change the tide of the game. And I really like that mechanic. I think it could be a bit ridiculous depending on how often, like if the tiffin card came up too often. For example, we had a game where I played the British with my mate Charles, and we were playing against a place called Chris and Tony, and they could not get any luck in drawing any of the French leaders. We were playing the English, they were playing the French. They could not get any luck of drawing any French leaders at all for the first start of the game, which seemed fine for us at the start because we were thinking, oh, you know, this is great, we can. But then it got into the point where it was like, well, we've got everything on the table and we got nothing to shoot at because they're hiding behind a building, not wanting to come out because they haven't got any units on the table. So yeah, it can get a bit ridiculous and a little bit interesting, but it's I don't want to be here. The whole premise is very interesting, and if you get a decent run of it, it's a very good game, very good. So that's sort of what I've been doing recently, as well as very much looking forward to my Gates of Antari stuff to arriving. I've been reading a lot of the Beast of War stuff online, and the way that they did the rush painting is what I refer to as, although that's probably a little bit unfair, because it wasn't. You know, it was the usual superb quality of everyone involved at Beast of War. But I do, you know, someone described it, I think, on the video as the base quality, and I was thinking, oh, sometimes quite as good, you know, as good as my, you know, not, you know, it is as good as my best painting, which made me feel horrendous. But there we go. It is like I stay well away from the painting section on the modelling section of the Beast of War website because it just makes me want to cry. The fact that I don't have the patience or the time to be able to put that much effort into painting one model, and which is a shame really, because I'd love to, but I don't. I just don't have the time. And you know, I can paint to a decent tabletop standard, but I'm not going to win any awards anytime soon. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the it's gone, it's completely gone, completely gone. What am I doing? Good start. Told you it was an alpha. Right. Oh, that was right. If you wanted to come on and have a chat about what you do and say this is what I'm really interested in, finding out what you like to do, what you want to do specifically, and not via a forum where you have to specifically ask one topic. I would like to ask a range of questions about what people do in wargaming and the variation that we've got now, which was never possible before. And that's what's really nice about the whole Beast of War site, is that it's very I'll say variable, but that's not really the word I'm looking for. Variety, I guess. There's a wide variety of different gamers, and I think that's definitely something that should be praised. with the Beast of War crew, the amount of stuff they can keep there, how many pies they've got and how many fingers they can keep in those pies for certain lengths of time. Especially when something new comes out, it's very nice to see that they're usually on the ball. So there's a couple of things but you can't do everything. It's impossible. There's loads of it. Um, yeah, I say I'm mainly into my fantasy stuff as well. I should mention that I'm mainly into fantasy and sci-fi. I'm not so much into the historical, unless it's like a game like Bolt Action, like someone described it to me once as the greatest war movie you've ever played, rather than a reenactment, which I think was a fair comment. the I think there are a lot of people get bogged down in the history in Bolt Action, and you got to understand that this is based on things like Fury, where it maybe not be 100% accurate. The heroes don't always come out at the end, and it's all. But with Bolt Action, it kind of is you have these heroic characters that can do things. Like, for example, we were playing Bolt Action once. We had a Russian commander and a German commander went into a building, and they decided they're going to have a game of fisticuffs instead of shooting each other, which was quite interesting. I quite like the idea of a German and a Russian just having a fisticuffs, and not surprisingly, the Russian won. But again, I'd say Bolt Action is a good system. I like it. I'm just a little bit burnt out on it at the moment. So yeah. Anyway, that's me done. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you would like to talk about. What you would like, if you would like to come on on the show. God, it's not even a show. It's not a show. It's just two people going to be having a chat about gaming. I should mention another thing. I'm only available on like late evenings. Because I work during the day, and then I have another half who I spend my evenings with. So only time from sort of it would be 10, 11 o'clock onwards. The only other problem I do have as well is I may may or may not live next to a runway, so occasionally there may be plane noise. So all these wonderful things aren't stacking up in my favour. But again, and if any of the Beasts of War crew would you like to listen to this and give it their support, I would be very, very happy. If I don't need anything from it. I just want to know that you support this and that you're okay with me putting this out there on your in your site. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to make something of it. But yeah, thank you very much, and hopefully I'll be hearing from you. Cheers.